Hi everyone, I'm Dustin from Mazama Wellness, and in today's video, I'll be talking about different types of progressive overload. As discussed in the last video about rep ranges, you need progressive overload to increase demand and progress in strength, hypertrophy, or muscular endurance. Let's discuss the different types of progressive overload. The most obvious way to increase demand is by adding weight. It's smart to do this in small increments. Remember, it's progressive overload to let the body adapt gradually. I suggest adding 2 to 5 pounds every time you feel like you could use more of a challenge. A good rule of thumb is if you can comfortably complete 2 extra reps on the last set, then you should consider increasing the weight. Remember to do this while also maintaining good form and feeling the target muscles work. Sometimes adding too much weight shifts the work into non-target muscles, and this isn't ideal. A good example of this is with Bulgarian split squats. In my experience, loading these up too heavy will shift the work from the quads to the glutes, and I just end up with really sore glutes, which isn't ideal if I'm trying to target the quads. It's all a balancing act, and making sure your form isn't sacrificed is priority number 1. Remember, quality over quantity. Increasing reps is another way to increase demand, and this is a great strategy if you aren't able to make small changes to weight. For example, if you're doing Bulgarian split squats and you only have a pair of 20-pound dumbbells and a pair of 30-pound dumbbells, and the 20s are too light for a set of 10 and the 30s are too heavy for 10, then you can increase the reps using the 20s until you can get like 12 or 14 per set, and then go to the 30s and get like 8 per set and start increasing the reps from there. This is a great approach, and research has shown that increasing reps has a similar effect on hypertrophy to increasing weight. Personally, I like to use a wave strategy with reps. So this is where you increase the reps week by week using the same weight throughout a cycle, and then when you start a new cycle, you drop the reps and increase the weight, and then increase reps again week by week. So if we take the Bulgarian split squat as an example, let's say I can complete 10 reps with 30-pound dumbbells at the beginning of a training cycle, then I'll bump up the reps by 1 for each week of that 4-week cycle. Week 1 will be 3 sets of 10 reps, week 2 will be 3 sets of 11, week 3 will be 3 sets of 12, week 4 will be 3 sets of 13. Then for the next cycle, I'll bump the weights up to 35 pounds and start back at 3 sets of 10 and go through that pattern again with a heavier weight. This again is a very incremental strategy, and it is great for people that don't have a variety of weights at their disposal. Range of motion is another way to increase demand and doesn't require extra weight or reps. Increasing the range of motion used in an exercise will increase the tensile force on the working muscle fibers, and this increases tension and makes the muscle fibers adapt and grow. Putting this into practice means going deeper in a squat, for example, elevating the front foot on a big Bulgarian split squat, or going deeper in a push-up, for example, elevating the hands on a yoga block to be able to lower down further. So these small changes can push the end ranges of motion and really increase the intensity of an exercise, thus increasing muscle growth. Reducing rest periods between sets or circuits is another way to increase demand, and this is effective by increasing metabolic stress in the muscle cells. As mentioned in the rep ranges video, this is one of the mechanisms of hypertrophy. Pushing the cells in this way forces them to adapt metabolically, and this makes the cells grow. This is as simple as reducing rest times between rounds. It's recommended to do this for circuit workouts or supersets, meaning you're doing a combo of exercises that work different body parts. For example, you could superset Bulgarian split squats and push-ups because they're working different muscle groups, and that way each muscle group gets a little rest while the other is being used. but the overall intensity of the workout is increased by reducing the resting time. Not only will you get more metabolic demand, but you'll also get some cardiovascular work too. It's best not to use maximal weights here because mechanical tension is not the goal, and also it'll just be too hard to complete and probably too dangerous as well. One last way to increase demand is by playing with the tempo of an exercise. You can slow down or add pauses to a movement, and this increases mechanical tension. If you're pausing for an extended period of time, like in an isometric hold, then you're probably getting some metabolic stress too. Research indicates that the lack of oxygen in contracted muscles puts a particular demand on the cells, and this elicits a hypertrophic effect. If we take Bulgarian split squats as an example, we could do a 4-second lowering or eccentric phase, followed by a normal up or concentric phase, and this slow lowering will increase mechanical tension on the muscle fibers. Or we could do a 30-second pause at the bottom of an isometric Bulgarian split squat, and this would increase metabolic stress also. So using this strategy means you're using both those factors that increase hypertrophy. So the takeaway here is that there are many approaches to progressive overload, and I think most people could benefit from a combination of them. It doesn't always have to be about increasing weight, and in fact, in my own training, I focus more on getting quality reps that work the target muscle group and push those muscles to close to failure. Of course, the weight matters to an extent, and more weight means more mechanical tension, but adding more weight to the exercise is secondary to the quality of work. Given your situation and the amount of equipment at your disposal, you might try progressive overload strategies that don't rely so much on adding weight, especially if you work out at home or travel regularly and don't have the huge variety of equipment available like you would at a gym. So try some of these strategies out and let me know what you think. Thanks for joining me, and make sure to check out our website and our Substack for more good stuff.